Welcome to Nick Does Maths. We are going into a more computer sciencey vibe today. We've still got words because I'm liking words at the moment, but we're going to talk about an automaton. It's just a sequence of states that you can be in. Think of it as chips on a computer board or something like that. We have a starting state. We're going to start here in S0. And then we put in a series of inputs, a series of A's or B's, for example, a series of A's or B's. Now, depending on the state and the input, I will travel to a different state. So if I'm in S0 and I receive the input A, I'll go to S1. If I'm in state S1 and I receive the input B, I'll go back to S0. If I'm in S1 and I receive the input A, I will go here. So for example, I start in S0 and I get the input AB. I will go to S1, then back to S0. I'll end up in S0. If I start in S0 and I get the input A, B, B, I will go A to B to B. I'll end up in S2. And that's the vibe we're going for here. Now, there are also accepting states. So you put in your word, and the automaton runs, and either your word will be accepted or it won't be accepted based on what state we end in. So here, the double circle, S1, is telling me that this is an accepting state. Okay? So AB and ABB are not accepting are not accepted words. If, however, I go ABA, ABA, I'll end up in S1, so that word will be accepted. This is what I mean. This is the language you're going to be using throughout this question. I've paraphrased a lot of text here. Okay, so that's the idea. Now, what words would this automaton accept? What words would it accept? Well, I need to end up in S1. Now, the key thing is I never can land in S2. As soon as my word gets me in S2, I'm stuck, because S2, if you put A, it stays in S2. If you put in a B, it stays in S2. All right? So S2 is a no-go. So really, I need to be flicking between S0 and S1. So the kinds of words that work for this is I need A, B, A, or I need A, B, A, B, A, right? So essentially, I need a bunch of repeats of A, B, followed by A. This is, at this point, if you've been watching these videos, when we're talking about words, this is fairly standard notation for a bunch of ABs behind each other, A lots of AB. So that will work for me. Now, what if I swap the accepting states? So instead of having S1 as my accepting state, I make S0 an accepting state, and I make S2 an accepting state. Well, I mean, it's fairly simple. Just swap this over. Right? Any word that follows this will still land me in S1, which is a not accepting state. Any other word at all will get me into an accepting state. Nice and straightforward. Now we get on to the fun part. All right, part 3. Let's see, we need now to build one that accepts only an even number of A's and any B we want. So we could be tempted to just start in our original state and go A and B, and we're always going to stay there. The problem is that this would work for an odd number of A's, so it doesn't, all right? It has to only work for even numbers of A, and an odd number of A here, you go A, cool, A, cool. So that would still work. So I need a dummy state in there somewhere that I can go to before coming back. Now at that point, that will work. And then where can I go with B? Well, let's just stay here. Any number of B's. So a single B will work. A single B with 2 A's will work. 2 B's with any number of A's would work, because if I stay here, B, B. If I've got an even number of A's, I'll go there, do a number of B's, come back. We're all good. This one seems to work. Lovely. Right, I can have any sequence I want. That comes down to here. Right. 4. Draw one that accepts even A's or odd B's. All right, so I need an even number of A's or odd B's. Okay. So let's find out. Now, this is OR in math, so it needs to accept just any number of, just an even number of A's. So we're going to have this sequence going as well. Now, B's can't just go to itself. All right, now if you've got an even number of A's, I should be able to have any number of B's work, so an even or an odd number of B's. So let's make that accepting. And let's make this accepting. Right. So let's say our first command is an A. I would need an odd number of B's to work. So B would work. How about multiple B's? What if I just bounce between these? What if I bounce between what if I bounce between those? Let's say I've got an even number of A's. So if I've got an even number of A's, any number of B's should work. All right, so at this point, I've got an even number of A's, which means I'm always here. An even number of A's means I'm here. And then I go, any number of B's will take me between these two states. Cool. What if I've got an odd number of A's? So an odd number of A's will take me to there. Will take me to there. Now at that point, I need to have an even number of B's. An odd number of B's. But I need to account for if I'm in this state and I do an A. So where do I go for a state here if I'm in A? Because you're only ever in these two states if you've got an odd number of B's. You're in these two states if you're in an odd number of B's, at which point you can A around to your heart's content. You're in that state if you're in an even number of A's, in which case you can have any number of B's to your heart's content. And I think this one here will work. Nice little introduction. Let's not keep it too heavy in terms of these automatons. There is a follow-up to this, maybe for another time. Let me know in the comments if you're interested to see where the rest of this question goes. I'm Nick, keeping it short and sweet today with automatons and things moving around. Can you come up with your own automaton that fulfills particular conditions and no other ones? Have I missed something? Would this work with a condition that isn't an even number of A's or an odd number of B's? I don't think so, because an odd number of A's will get me to here. An odd number of A's will get me to here. And at that point, an even number of B's will get me back to there, which is no good. So we are no bueno. We are no bueno. I think so. Just let me know if I've missed something. Also, don't forget to like the video. Please subscribe and hit the notification so you know when the follow-ups come out. I'm Nick. Hope you're enjoying this. See you soon.